I am going to continue what Leo had to present, which is the economic burden. I don't have any conflict of interest. And I have another riddle, like Dr. Lismat had. I make the tiger and the lion yield. The raging bull I'll tame. Even kings might kneel to my elusive aim. What am I? As she showed you in several photos, sleep will beat us. We will fall asleep when we need it. We know these figures. Almost 90% of drug-resistant hypertension, 83%. Half of people with chronic heart failure, with atrial fibrillation, have sleep apnea. Obviously, strokes. 2/3 of people with a stroke. And we are talking about, obviously, the leading cause of death, coronary artery disease, the leading cause of death in male. Sleep apnea is also related, closely related, and Dr. Serrano showed the real pandemic that we are facing now in the 21st century, which is obesity, sleep apnea, diabetes, hypertension, and coronary artery disease. 2/3 of the population in the UK are obese, and dramatically, 1 in 5 children, 6-year-old children, are obese. And this is what we are going to see in the next few decades. It's also sleep apnea related to dementia, which is the leading cause of death in the UK, by far the leading cause of death in female. So we know that investing in sleep apnea can reduce expenses. Dr. Serrano showed that in the USA they invest whatever amount, but the expenses related to the medical cardiovascular condition were 4 times higher. We can avoid or prevent 81% of the hospitalizations in the workers if we know who have. Maybe the owner, the CEO could have it, not only the lorry driver, the delivery guy. The owner could prevent all these problems to happen. And we, obviously, this is maybe what we have better data, is the reduction of accidents. That's why there are laws. We know why we have so many traffic accidents in low-income countries. I am from Venezuela, and this is why we have so many accidents, because they don't wear helmets, and they walk in the streets, etc. You can see how people drive here, don't you? She said so, Dr. Lisma. She said that in industrialized countries, traffic accidents don't occur because of drink driving or whatever, safety belts or helmets. In industrialized countries, traffic accidents are iatrogenic, our fault, if we don't think in advance that our patient could have a sleep apnea and is going to drive, and obviously is liable, not only for the worker, but obviously for the employer. This is the Health and Safety at Work Act in Australia, and it also clearly states that it's an obligation for the employer funding the testing, and obviously for the worker, they shouldn't deny or decline for those tests to happen. And these accidents can be from just needle, which can cause hepatitis, HIV, or whatever, or they can be more widespread, and even this sort of catastrophes have been shown to be related to sleep issues. I watched the series last year, and it didn't say that it was a political reason. Yes, but sleep deprivation was a fact in all these problems, these catastrophes. And this is here. This is real. 50% of the workers in this nuclear plant diagnosed with that polysomnography have sleep apnea. And this is one of the news that we see daily. Bus and lorry drivers. Dr. Ismail showed you several photos. 1/3, I heard a comparison yesterday or the day before. If the person next to you doesn't have a sleep apnea, and the person who is on the other side doesn't have a sleep apnea, it is you who has it. Because 1/3 of us have a sleep apnea. This is the USA, and this is 40% of the bus driver. How are they? How is the bus driver who brought you here? I will show you some photos later. Obviously, they have 7 times higher risk of accidents and obviously death. This is Argentina, almost 43%, 3 times higher risk. So, accidents are not just negligence, stupidity. They are not anymore. These that happen daily are, in fact, the problems. And they are not accidents. They are not something casual that is going to happen. We can predict that they will happen. And we have very, very good data about this. It's known. For instance, this is in Tennessee. It was shown that it was related this death because of sleep apnea. Also in Tennessee, 5 dead, 2 wounded. This train at the Baltimore-Washington airport, 1 million in damages because of sleep apnea. Also this one in Michigan, which was even worse, but obviously it was not the airport, so the damage was 1.4 million. If you are the owner of the haulage company and you are going to lose a lot of money, whatever the Amazon truck have, it's a lot of money anyway, isn't it? No injuries, only a traffic accident with damages to the car and the goods in the lorry, in the truck. This is another example. Worldwide. This is Japan. This Shinkansen ran almost 30 kilometers at almost 300 kilometers per hour. He was asleep. And this Anna pilot fall asleep twice because of the sleep apnea. This is a document from Spain, Murcia. It showed that 100 million traffic accidents due to fatigue and drowsiness, 71,000 people were injured, and 60 billion the cost in material loss, the goods and the vehicles involved. That's why this document was a landmark in medicine, a milestone. This document, where all these researchers in Europe began writing about the laws in the USA regarding driver license. And I was very happy about this. This is the solution. That's what I said. Now there is a law, everybody must apply, there won't be any problem. What is the problem now? You have heard about that all the time in all the different conferences. Compliance. People don't like to use the CPAP. My wife hates when I say this, but the CPAP is the best what I have slept with. It's wonderful. I used to have a sleep apnea, and I had the CPAP, and it's fantastic. It's bothersome for 2-3 nights, but thereafter it's amazing. You feel great. But people don't like it because they are being pushed by law to use it. It's like forcing somebody to eat something, a delicatessen, a wonderful food, but if they are forced, they won't. And they are very old slides. What we must do, we need to diagnose, treat, and reassess to see how is the compliance. This is the DVLA. So you see, even mild sleep apnea, but with excessive sleepiness, they must not drive. And that's why they refuse to have the test. Because they know that they will be on the waiting list for 2 years, and they won't be earning any money for 2 years. So the solution became the problem, which is the law enforcing. This is the Spanish law. So what are the costs that an employer can save, the money that they can save if they screen and treat every worker? For each 100 workers, they can save $1.2 million. This is not only because of the fines, which could be very high, even higher. So, for instance, if a person have a serious accident or died because of falling asleep, the fine that the company will need to pay to the government is this amount. They will need to pay for the medication, the treatment, the funerary cost, or whatever, the family compensation, civil, and if it was very bad, they could go to prison for up to 6 months, the employer. And I showed you this slide before. This is one example. They paid $500 million because of willful violation. But prison is also a big problem. The law says no more than 6 months. But if it is willful violation, if somebody that knows this is on YouTube, they want to avoid it anyway, and they kill a person, they can go for life. So, is it achievable to reduce sleep apnea? Is it this burden, all this We have laws, we have safe treatment. We are paying now. When I started working on this field more than 20 years ago, no insurance like insomnia. Nobody paid for insomnia. That's happening now, 1/3 of the population. But for sleep apnea, then nobody paid for that. Now we have the resources. The government, the health system pay for, but we have more or less the same problem. Actually, it's a pandemic. So can we do that? Yes, there are good examples. This is from the American Academy of Sleep Medicine. You can call this, maybe. They can save, I'll zoom in, 140 million in lack of productivity in 10 years. That's a lot of money for a firm in Florida. This is a firm in Florida. I told you before, remember, presentism. People go to work, they don't even take the sick leave, they are paid, but they are unproductive. You can see up to some 72% of unproductivity. Obviously, the costs are huge. Absenteeism is another problem. This happened. You can see this one. 30% of the work performance is decreased. If we want to compare it, look at this one. It's like if you buy something, 1/3 of whatever you buy or service, it was in productivity. And we know the data now. So we can save a lot of money. We can save in treatment for medical costs, which I didn't want to talk because it have been discussed as well, but also about productivity. We will have healthier and happier workers, less absenteeism, presenteeism, and accidents. So investing on this would be a great idea. And these are the following will be some examples. This study, almost 20 years ago, screening people at workplaces. And we can see the figures here. For each worker, we save, investing on diagnosing and treatment, we can save almost $3,000, $2,700 for each person. So if we have 700 workers, we can save $270,000 a year. Not treating sleep apnea causes a lot of waste in resources in the health system. I already showed you how it reduces hospitalization and medical claims. And this is the study, the first study that showed the relationship with sleep apnea and traffic accidents, almost 25 years ago. And all these laws came because of this paper. So what are the benefits for a company to invest in screening and treating their workers, even their own owner, for sleep apnea? Obviously, it improves the health and safety of the workers, the productivity, they will produce more, therefore earn more with the same staff, reduce traffic accidents, well, accidents in general, cost, hospitalization, etc. And this is the problem. Maybe most of the people waiting in the waiting room to be seen have a sleep apnea, and we, the primary care physicians, don't think about that. This is a fact. You all know that. Because that means I see 50 patients a day. Let's suppose that only 30%. I don't diagnose, myself, I don't diagnose 15 people, sleep apnea patients daily. Not even myself. I am working on this all the time privately, but when I am on the NHS, hypertension, heart attack, stroke, diarrhea, whatever, flu. But I don't think about that. I don't have time in 10 minutes. So we need to arrange things. These are documented experiences. This is another study on tracking lorry drivers. This is an interesting strategy. Those who remember, this is the first apnea link ever. Quite a long time ago. Well, it showed the results. It worked for the trains. There are other samples in Australia, Dubai, Sweden, UK, this large bakery. This is interesting because it's not just haulage, it's bakery, but they obviously they deliver. Do you know if, for instance, Uber, do they screen for that? This is a frequent question, and we tried that yesterday with Dr. Serrano and I. So we call a friend of him that he owns a haulage company with 1,000 employees. And is it expensive? No, you will save. But he said, well, I am not going to save. The health system is going to pay for that. If somebody gets unwell or has an accident, they will be treated. If they have a heart attack, they will be treated. If I lose it, I hire another person. It is expensive for me. I don't need to pay for that. You will need to offer me a solution, not a problem. You're offering me a problem. That's what they said. And this is the other big issue. I insist these slides are very old when these examples were presented. Do we face additional responsibility by disclosing that we have a problem with our drivers? And they said, no, it's very well documented that many people have sleep apnea, but now you know and you can treat it. Yes, but when are they going to have the CPAP? How many years do we need to do we dismiss all of them and wait 2 years to get? And these are the bus drivers. This was a strike of lorry drivers. They were sleeping until during the conversation with the government. And this was this strike. You may think they are farmers or rich. No, they are lorry drivers. So, going with the example that Dr. Serrano showed, you remember, unfortunately, the slide was rearranged by the computer because of the shape of the slide. But you know these triangles, okay? The environment, host, and agent. Let's call the agent alcohol, tobacco, illegal drugs, anatomopathological or physiological problems, hypertrophy, tonsillar hypertrophy, Bosio, whatever. Obviously, they are not agent, but they can come from agent to environment. Social media, smartphones. shift work. Can we go to bed without testing to our colleagues or watching news or reading what's happening, Facebook, visiting? This is a problem that is causing many of the sleep deprivation problems, obviously related to the host. So addressing obesity, there is a medication for sleep apnea now. This is semaglutide and all those we are treating by treating obesity. So you remember this is the natural history of, so screening will be here. Before everything happens, we can do some preventive actions, but after the problem started and before being clinically assessed, we can screen for them. Before they complain of snoring, sleepiness, or having the accident or the stroke, we can screen them. This is a key factor in the whole resolution of the problem, and obviously treating. So therefore, we can have primary interventions in the prevention levels, health. We are learning and learning. The cardiologists invented the sleep apnea. They discovered sleep apnea, but they don't think about that. So health doesn't work. The same happens with everything. I know about obesity, but I am getting fat. So laws, we have very specific laws, but they don't work either. And we have social marketing strategies, the one that I showed you before, the lorry drivers screening programs, etc. But they don't work, so we need to think about the problem as a whole. Then the secondary interventions. Then, and I am really an advocate of the World Sleep Society, these type of conferences, this type of intervention, the World Sleep Day, can make some changes. Awareness on people, education to us, and we now, 3,500 of us going back to our countries to spread this information. And we have guidance, and we are developing them, and the World Health Organization knows about them and know how important they are. So that's why I'm a real advocate of the World Sleep Society, and I guess you also are. Now we need to implement all these in all these levels of prevention, and maybe that will be the solution. Achievable, I think it is. I am still enthusiastic and optimistic about that. Thank you very much.